Hey everyone, Tony Phelan here with the UF1, and today we're going to discuss the 2019-2020 UF1 season rules. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about is this year's schedule. We're doing 8 races this year, 4 indoor on carpet and 4 outdoor on asphalt. That way it doesn't give any of the asphalt guys the advantage or the carpet guys the advantage. The first round is going to be round 1, August 3rd, the Australian Grand Prix at Cal Raceway. This is going to be a nighttime race. We're going to start in the afternoon and lead into the night. It's really fun racing under the lights. It's pretty cool. Round 2, September 7th, Chinese Grand Prix, Revelation Raceway in Montclair. Round 3, October 13th, the Spanish Grand Prix, Roadrunners RC in Camarillo. Round 4, November 10th, Canadian Grand Prix, URCV Raceway in Northridge. Those are going to be the first 4 races are going to be the outdoor races, though we won't have to worry about rain if it rains in the first half of the year. Then we'll have our winter break during December. A lot of people have things going on, so just the perfect time for winter break. Then we start the indoor series, part of the series, round 5, January 11th. The GP de France, we're traveling to Las Vegas, the 702 Raceway. They wanted to host a UF1 event there, so we're going to head out there for that. Round 6, February 9th, Japanese Grand Prix at TQRC Raceway in Chino. Rounds 7 and 8 are still undecided. We're working on a couple other cool places that we might travel to. Otherwise, we may have to duplicate something up, but we'll let you know a little bit later in the season, definitely before the winter break, what the last 2 races are going to be. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about are the rules. There will be an F1 and F2 class again this season. It worked out great last season. Boris took the win in the F2 class, got bumped to the F1 class, which was kind of cool to see. So we're going to be doing that again this year. The rule sets are as follows. Formula 1 and Formula 2. Formula 1, the motors are going to be, you guys are going to be able to use a 21.5 or 25.5, whichever one you choose to race at whatever track you want. This lets you guys kind of tune your power to a smaller, maybe loose track, or more power for like a carpet track. Formula 2 will be using a 25.5 turn motor. Just stick with that. Speed controls. Both classes will need to run a roar legal ESC set in blinky mode. We will be checking for blinky mode this year. Tires. F1 class can use any rubber-only F1 scale tire. They must be available to the general public, no specialty tires, and it's an open tire. You can run any tire you want. Tires for the F2 class will be a spec tire, and I'll get more on that in a few minutes. Bodies, F1 scale, molded front and rear wing, no Lexan wings. That's both the Formula 1 and Formula 2 class. Both cars are two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, 190 millimeter max, wheelbase 270 millimeters max for both the F1 and F2. Batteries, 2S lipos or 6-cell nickel metals. I don't think anybody uses 6-cell nickel metals anymore, so 2S lipo maximum. You can run shorty or long packs. Battery voltage, we're letting the F1 guys go to 8.7, let you guys use the high voltage. You guys have a little bit more experience, so we're going to let you run a higher voltage pack. Formula 2 guys are still regulated to 8.44. You guys just don't need to be blasting your packs. This is supposed to be fun for you guys to learn your cars. Don't make it unsafe. Minimum weight. We are lowering the minimum weight of the Formula 1 class to 1,000 grams, down from 1050. We want it to kind of be an open class. So go ahead and take some of that weight off. Let's see what you guys can do with a little bit lighter car. Formula 2, because the car, you guys are having to add so much weight to your cars, we're also lowering the minimum, but it's to 1020. It's not to 1050 anymore. So you're losing some weight for that as well. Minimum ride height on both cars, F1 and F2, 3 millimeters. Suspension systems. Any suspension system is allowed in the Formula 1 class. You can run full suspension, front, rear, independent front only, or whatever you want. F2, no independent suspension, rear suspension cars. You have to use a solid rear axle. And finally, driving aids. As usual, no driving aids are allowed in either the F1 or F2 class. Okay, we're going to go over a couple of the rule updates specific to both classes. The Formula 1 class, again, we discussed you can run a 21.5 or 25.5 roar legal motor. Open tire, 8.7 battery voltage, minimum weight is 1,000 grams. Cooling fans. We want to make sure that you run cooling fans if you want to run them. However, they cannot interfere with the body lines of the car. You can't cut the whole rear end of the car off to mount a fan. You can't do specific trimming on the side of the car. The bodies must stay as complete as possible. So that means you can run a fan behind the axle, on top of the axle, as long as it doesn't interfere with the body mounting. On the side, I've seen some guys run some on the side pods here. Those are all fine. They cannot interfere with the look of the car. You must have a livery paint in the Formula 1 class. No drips, flames. This is the realistic class. I want you guys to have cars that look really cool. So single body paint jobs like this. This is not a mandatory thing. It's just a highly suggested thing for the Formula 1 class. So liveries, come on guys, run some liveries. Constructors Championships. We're doing that. We're starting that again this year. I'll get into that here in a few minutes. Formula 2 rule updates. Spec tire. You will need to run the Rush or Volante tires. You can go to the UF1 website, go to under the news technical, and it'll give you a list of the tires. There'll be a thing that says spec tires for the F2 class. It'll give you all the tires that you can run. We got the green dot, medium soft, blue dot, medium, purple dot, medium hard. Those are your front tire selections. For the rears, you have the double pinks, which is the hyper soft for asphalt, and the red dot, which are the soft for carpet. Those are going to be the spec tires. You need to run those on both the carpet and the asphalt. We will be checking for the spec tires. I mean, they look completely. These are the spec tires here. So they do have a different look than the rest of the cars, so we can see from a mile away if you are running the spec tires. Minimum weight, of course, is down to 1020 for the F2 guys. No rear suspension cars. Again, we're looking for the cooling fans can be used, but they must be mounted in a way that not interfere with the look of the body. Other than that, you can check the UF1 website for more information on the rules as well as the rule updates. Okay, Constructors Championship. We're bringing that back this year. We used to have it in past years, and it was really fun. Basically what it is, this is for the F1 guys only. You have 2 team members in the Constructors Championship. So you grab a partner, paint your cars up with matching liveries. They need to have matching liveries. Teams can be real or imaginary. They don't need to be, they can be something as long as it gives the look of what a real F1 team would run. So, flames with, dragons on it. Yeah, I don't know if you'd see that in a real F1 team. So it does not have to be real, just has to look like a real F1 team. Points count. There are no throwouts for the constructors. All your points will count. So it is in best interest to show up to every race. If you're in a team, show up to your race and gain as many points as possible. There are throwouts for individual, we'll get to that in a minute, but for teams, all points count. Should one of your drivers in the team not be able to make it to one of the events, we are allowing 1 substitute driver for the season. So if Team A shows up and one of their drivers can't be there, they can have somebody else that's either in the UF1 or a friend come out and race in their place, but it must be cleared with the UF1 prior to the event so we can make sure we get them loaded in and they understand what's going on. Other than that, that's the constructors teams. There's going to, right now we have 6 teams. You can go to the UF1 website. There's a spot in there that says, I think it's under Region 1. It'll show you the 2019 teams. There's 6 teams right now. There's still time to create more teams. I will put the link in the description below so that you guys, if there's somebody out there that wants to create another team, you can go to that link, go straight to the sign up page, sign up, create your team, get your liveries all done up and ready to go. And yeah, that's Constructors Championships. That'll be fun. We've always had a good time doing it, so it should be fun. Okay, let's go over the UF1 racing format real quick. Most of you have run the format. This will probably be for those of you who haven't, maybe some of the F2 guys. Basically, we have a kind of a strange format, but it's really fun. We do 1 qualifier. It's a 3-minute qualifier. You put your cars on the track, the timing loop starts, and you just start running laps. You want to post 5 fast laps. They do not need to be consecutive, but the computer will take your 5 fastest laps and average those laps to give a final qualifying time. The reason we do this is because when we do fast lap, 1st through 10th place is usually could be anywhere 10 seconds a difference. When we do 5 consecutive, 1st through 10th place can be almost a second apart. So it really tightens up the grid. So 1 qualifier, 3 minutes, it'll average your 5 top fastest laps. This year, TQ will not earn additional points. Instead, we're going to try something a little different. TQ, whoever gets TQ in both the F1 and F2 class will start on the front of the grid every single race. So if you start on the front of the grid in the first race and you break, typically you would be shuffled to the back of the pack with the resort, but not this year. You've earned a TQ. That should give you the ability to start at the front of the pack. So all 3 races, whoever the TQ is, starts at the front of the pack. Main events. Both the F1 and F2 drivers will get 15 main events, 15 main events. It was 15, last year it was 15 and 10. F2 drivers had 10-minute races. We're going to give everybody 15. You guys should all be able to run 15-minute races. Pit stops. 2 pit stops. The pit stops we're going to be doing pit stops again, and they're going to work like every year. 2 pit stops, both the F1 and F2. You cannot pit on the first lap. You have to do 1 complete lap. Then you can go ahead and start making your pit stops up until the 10-minute mark of the race. So you can do them whenever you want. You get in traffic, use them strategically. That's what they're there for. After the 10-minute mark, it's heads-up racing. This allows the race director to call traffic. Everybody on the track is where they're supposed to be on the track, so he can call traffic. He can be more accurate with his announcing. If you forget to do one of your 2 pits or both of your pits, there'll be a 2-lap penalty at the end of your race. So make sure you guys get your pits in. The scoring system is similar to how it's been in the past years. It's a 100-to-1 point system in 1-point increments. First place gets 100, second gets 99, third gets 98, and etc. Drivers will be scored within their entire run group. So if you are in the F1 class and you qualified 12th and you're in the second run group, your points, your finishing points, still count for the entire group. So it doesn't matter. You're not going to be counted in just your run group. It's for the entire class. So do your best, and you can actually make first, second, third, fourth, fifth place points depending on what run group you're in. Throwouts. F1 and F2, we've basically done, in a 7-race series, we've done 1 throwout day. So there's 3 rounds in a day. So if you get 2 wins and a DQ, you're basically potentially throwing out that entire day, which kind of sucks if you do well. So this year we're going to try something different. There are 8 races. There are 3 race rounds per day, so basically 24 race rounds. We are going to give you 24 race rounds with 3 throwout rounds per season. So in that same day, you have 2 wins and a DQ. You can throw out that DQ and keep your 2 race win points. So it gives a lot more flexibility in your throwouts. Now, if you miss an entire day, that is your 3 rounds. So just make sure you understand the way that the rounds work. Constructor's Championship. Each driver, this is for F1 only, each driver's points get tallied to the overall constructor. So if one driver gets 300 points for the day and another gets 200 points for the day, the constructor for that day gets 500 points. So all your points count. There are no throwouts for that. Just keep that in mind. If you're having a bad day, you still got to go for it because you still need those overall points for constructors. We're also going to be adding a fast lap award. We already have the fast lap award, but there's nothing really to it other than just saying, hey, I got the fast lap. So this year, in both the F1 and F2 classes, we're going to be adding an additional 1 point for the person who gets the fast lap for the day. Now, that may not be calculated on the day of the race. It may be calculated after, because I have to go through all the sheets and just make sure that, somebody doesn't get an 8.2 lap when everybody's doing 20-second laps. I just need to make sure that they're valid laps. So we will be awarding that later after the day has been concluded. Okay, we want to make sure that the Formula 1 class is the pinnacle of the F1 racing. We want to make sure the cars look and feel like they do in real life. So there are some F1 class requirements. Realistic liveries, we talked about this earlier. They are suggested, they are highly suggested. They're not mandatory, but they're highly suggested you have a realistic livery on your car. This year we're also going to be doing a bonus point system to kind of back up this whole realistic thing. A bonus point system. You will get 3 additional bonus points per race day if you have the following items on your car. And you can show this to either me or Ken Gerberding. He's kind of helping me out with some of this. So if you show him, if I'm not available and you show him, he'll make sure we tick you off on the little sign-up sheet. To qualify for the 3 bonus points, you get 3 bonus points each race day. Not each round, each race day. So to qualify, you'll need these 3 items on your car. You'll need a realistic livery, realistic F1 livery. You'll need to run tire decals. And you'll need to run your permanent car number. Now, if you haven't signed up for your permanent car number, I'm pretty sure everybody in the F1 class has. But if you decide to, if you make the F1 class and you don't think you have your permanent car number, contact me, or you can go onto the website and do a search for permanent car number, and it'll give a list of everybody's permanent car number on there. If you have it on your car, that's also, you'll need this to qualify for the 3 bonus points. In addition to that, you need one of these two additional options. You'll need to be running a halo or a brake light. So if you're running either one of those two, in addition to the livery, the tire decals, and the permanent car number, you'll receive your 3 bonus points for the day. If you run the halo and the brake light, it's still 3 bonus points, but your car will look extra cool. So it's probably a good thing to be running everything so your cars look really good. All right, everyone, so that's the rules setup for the 2019-2020 UF1 season. If you have any questions, you can contact me through the UF1 website. I'm also posting a lot of articles on there for you guys to check out. Make sure you check the rules. Make sure you check the rules. Make sure you check the rules. We're going to be checking car legality throughout the season. Other than that, have a great F1 season, and we'll see you guys at the track.